Yeah, I mean, and I'll give my picks on here too. I'm gonna go. I mean, I had Iowa from the jump, so I'm gonna stick with Iowa in this game. I think LSU again, and as you talked about and so eloquently broke down so many pieces of all these teams, and I appreciate that. There's a lot to LSU, and like you said, if they can bang on those boards, if they can have that inside presence, if they can slow the game down, then that's going to be their game to play. If Iowa can speed them up, if Iowa can get in transition, if Iowa, I mean, listen, the faster that Iowa goes, the faster the ball moves, the faster Caitlin Clark gets open, and we know that she can shoot when she's open, and we know that she can shoot when she's not open. So, I think if the game is moving at a fast pace, then it's Iowa's. I think if it slows down and it plays around the rim, then it's LSU's. I'm going to pick Iowa. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game, and I'm going to give Iowa some separation here by probably like 10 points. But I'm going to say Iowa will take this one. In the other piece that you brought up, you're talking about UConn. Listen, every excuse you can make for UConn to not make something, my retaliation message to you is Geno Auriemma. And I mean, the man, and then when you talk about the transfer portal and UConn's not getting the best of the best anymore, Geno Auriemma, because him and his staff are finding student athletes still. And the way that you got to think about it like this, they've never rebuilt, they reload for decades. They're constantly reloading. How do you do that? Because your staff knows who you're looking for, your coach knows how to train them, your strength and conditioning and nutritional staff know what you need to do every single time. It's not just Geno, it's the whole staff. So let me not, when I say Geno, I'm giving him a lot of credit, which I think he has earned, but to the entire staff, you don't get student athletes, especially in a year where you have multiple injuries, you don't lose half your team and get to the Elite Eight. But if you're UConn, you can play with five players that don't have arms and legs because it somehow works out for them. What he has done there and what his staff has done there is there's been this culture and there has been a formula, and the formula works. And I think that South Carolina is working on building their own consistent formula. I think that, Kim is over in LSU building her formula. I think that Iowa, after Caitlin Clark, is going to big kind of at the LSU's, at the arguable Notre Dame's, at the UConns, at the South Carolinas in women's basketball that are building a certain formula model. And it's not the same as Geno's, but there's something to be said about it's not just UConn anymore. And I think back in the day, it was easy to say, if you're paying attention to women's basketball, watch Pat Summitt in Tennessee, watch Geno Auriemma at UConn. Now I feel like we're saying something different. Now you have to look at South Carolina, you have to look at LSU, you have to look at UConn, you have to look at the Notre Dames of the world. There's been other teams that have come up. Louisville had moments. We look at NC State this year, men's and women's team in the Final Four. If UConn does it, then 50% of the Final Four on both sides, men's and women's, will be going together. South Carolina, Southern Cal, USC. I feel like UConn, and I'm trying to word this right because I don't mean it. So like what I'm trying to say is like I don't want to say it in such a like I don't want to say UConn is down. That's what I'm trying to say. Because like I
Yeah.
mean what I say and I say what I mean, and I've never lied to anybody here on the show. I'm not a liar off the air, I'm not a liar on the air. And I carry my same opinion with or without the microphone being on. I God bless you if you just sneeze. So I UConn is in an arena where there are more threats. But I do not believe that UConn is ever down. I think if there's a 13 round bout and UConn's in the ring, I'm going to put my money that they're going to eventually knock you out no matter how much they're wobbling around. So this is hard because I think it would make logical sense to pick USC. I think it would make logical sense to say that they're going to have more gas in the tank, more bodies to go, more things to be thrown at. What if UConn gets in foul trouble? But your gut doesn't, your gut doesn't lie. And so I'm picking Iowa and I'm picking UConn because I just see Geno shaking hands at the end of this game having won it. And I see it already. So I'm going to say UConn. I'm going to say Iowa. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be really amazing. I'm so excited for it.